say let's go time. Go time. Wow. Because that's a brilliant something. We've got to do that. Gonna do back, see the top. Don't kill me. Don't kill me.
Relax, man. Relax. You're safe now.
What do I think?
Anybody come? I'm out on Marcus. Relax, bud. Relax. Yeah, he's starting. You got a 4-way. No, for sure, whatever. For sure. Hey, you just gotta relax, all right? Just chill out. Paramedics will be out of this place. Where are you guys from? You got this on
Ow! Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm close to more. You guys want to help! This is battle racing. You know, do you guys want us? Pick the fuck up. Help! Oh! Flat! Oh my God.
Hey, anybody use horse?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
If you look at your camera later, it is looking up. No, I don't know. I'm sure the 93. Yeah, hey, are they coming 2 or 3? 3?
Stop. You're not black. Ma'am, you are not black. Fuck you! Fuck you!
Hey, just relax. Hey, nice one. You got brains, man. You got the
Tired. Want to be the last guy to hit you? How about you? Ow! 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 They're gonna jump on me, dude. Help! Somebody's black. Help!
I'm here. I'm watching.
Kick their ass.
I'm watching. Calm down, dude.
Someone shoot the black. Kick their ass. I love you. I don't do it. I'm scared. Help me, somebody. I'm black. I'm black. Oh no. Oh no. You can shit on me. I'm never coming back to San Francisco. Fake game.
I have no idea. I doubt steel. Maybe. Just because of the location. Like, there's nothing open right here. And it looks... I think he may be tripping out, like on drugs.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, like, whether they don't fucking know that.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes they, like, maybe he did some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Realistically, that's one of those things where that's disorderly conduct anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, but disorderly conduct.
No, I hear you, but I mean, there's the cause.
Paramedics.
In a weird way, that may not be best.
Now get your fucking nuts. For real. Help me. At all. Fight. Just fucking drink all these up. Dude, get this foot away from me. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. You fucking make me so fucking nuts. Dude, get this guy off me. You come to shoot this guy. Don't touch me. Get him off me. Get him off me. You're in the talent. Don't you? You want help me. Help me. I'm black. The hick. Tom's name. I'm never coming back. Again. Kill templates. Don't touch me. Nuts. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Nuts. Nuts. Kill me. Fucking piece of shit. White racist. You piece of shit. No. 890. 890. Don't touch me now. Dying. Dude, let go of me. Hey, just kill me. Just kill me. Kill me. Oh, man, just kill me. Whatever it is. Just kill me.
Why can't you just cuff his legs?
Wait, what?
Why wouldn't you just cuff his legs?
Say your fucking name.
Because then you could pick him up.
Hey.
What's that?
Why don't you cuff his legs?
We don't have to cuss for his legs. His legs are restrained right now because he's kicking, as you noticed.
No, I'm saying, but in a situation like this, that would solve everything. Because the only reason you can't get up from him is because he can run away, right? Or hit you. He can't really hit you because they're cuffing him in the back right now.
He's cuffed, but his legs are, so he's kicking.
That's what I'm saying. So why not cuff his fucking legs? Like,
No, his legs are tied up. It's not cuffed, but it's restrained.
Oh.
An ambulance is on its way because
that's why you're holding him. Okay, okay.
An ambulance is going to respond, and
Well, because
you can see
I
by
get
his
it.
reaction.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's just like in a situation like that, anybody's gonna fucking fight. But if you stand him up or you put him against the wall and he's cuffed, he's not gonna really do
No,
anything.
he's still kicking. They put him up. I instructed him to put him up. And he's on his side now. His position of recovery. It's
Yeah.
called. So his airway's open, but you get off to see he's suffering psych issues or he's on narcotics. He's having an adverse reaction.
Yeah.
So it's a medical issue now, okay? And the medics are here. They're just holding him because he keeps resisting, as you can see.
No, I know. It's just like one of the things that bothers me is that everybody's gonna resist. You would resist. Everybody would resist in that position.
I wouldn't necessarily resist. Again, people don't follow instructions, whatever.
They're
reacting to his
The only
actions.
reason you wouldn't resist is because you have a trust that these guys know what they're doing. That's not fair for the general public.
Well, they do know what they're doing.
Fuck these cops, dude. No. I said stop fighting. Fuck you. I didn't do anything wrong.
It's not as easy as a lot of people think of dealing with someone who's resisting and spitting on you.
No, I hear you, but I always feel like that's when, if you can calm it down, you don't want to.
I agree.
You don't want to touch him because the touch when you're you know what I mean, like that's the whole reason you get cuffed. Because then once you're cuffed, you're not really gonna do anything. You know what I mean?
This happened in another district. The guy ran out of a store. I don't know what crime ensued that led to this. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
The medics are here. He'll be probably. They'll take him to a doctor and see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean he needs something
You
probably.
can see like he's sweating profusely.
Yeah, his eyes are fucking glazed over. He's not really able to comprehend much.
The drug, this crazy. You see it probably. I imagine you live in the city.
Yeah.
You see what goes on in this neighborhood.
Oh, yeah,
There's
yeah,
so much crazy narcotics and overdosing and stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is what it is.
Do not kill me now.
It's dangerous now. His heart rate is so high, right? You
Yeah.
don't know what narcotic he's on. We call excited delirium. What can happen? You know what I mean? Medically.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. That's why it really bums me out because, like, in every situation like that I've seen, you cuff him and then you put him in a corner. There's not really, you can't really do anything.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't. Even if he gets up and charges you, it's kind of like you still have the advantage of the football advantage. Like you can get him down easy.
But see, the point of that, the problem is once you stand up, they can be hurt by you. Now you're forced to tackle them. Where you want to, ideally, put them on their knees or on their butt sitting down.
I hear you.
But you wouldn't do it. So now they're going to bring out a gurney, a tie down with those cloth restraints.
Yep.
A 4-point, they call it. And the medics will probably give him something to sedate him.
That's always, I don't know. I mean, I hear you, but that's always kind of a little dangerous too.
Well, it is, because now you have needles and stuff, but that's why it takes so many people to hold him down.
Well, it's fire, right? So it's like, sometimes that works, but realistically, he's already used to drug solving his problems, and now he's getting that reinforced by the system.
But I'm not a medic by any stretch, but that's all these are paramedics, so it's their call. Now it becomes a medical thing.
Yeah. I realized this morning, you guys, what is it, 2,500 SFPD?
What?
2,500 total?
Oh no, we're less. We have so many people leaving the job because they don't like working in this environment anymore. They have zero support from. They don't feel like that.
In this city?
Yeah, we have young officers. I've been in 26 years, never saw us before. People are allowed when we go to other departments. They feel it's a better environment.
I feel
we can't recruit. We have a huge recruiting problem. And then my generation, when I came in, people were retiring in mass.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I mean, like, out of all of the police departments that I've seen, the least amount of disrespect towards officers from the general public tends to happen in San Francisco. In other words,
I agree. I like
most
San
people tend
Francisco.
to kind of be all right with the cops.
But it's different. I guess for a lot of it is the expense. So it's so hard, as you can imagine, probably living, affording living in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Right? So these younger officers that want to start a family, a lot of them, if they want to buy a house, it's impossible.
No, they're better off.
They already have these commutes that are 2 or 3 hours, so they can go to that respective agency in that area where they live, and they're thinking, hey, I don't have to drive 3 hours a day of commuting to and from, and that other department agency can maybe try to compete. So it's a really tough time.
But then you're not doing it. To me, I feel as if you're. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just feel as if you're gonna work out there, then all you're doing is fucking traffic tickets and fucking with people.
I agree.
And at least here, you're actually responding to a situation.
I agree.
Versus creating a situation a lot of times. You know.
I totally agree with you. It's like those smaller departments have their own issues, but I love San Francisco. But it's just that's what I've noticed from these younger guys, and that's what they're saying. So it's.
I could understand it. I mean, you want to have a life, you know what I mean? But
exactly. And then they're, family says family first and all that. But back to your number of staffing, it used to be mandated, I think, 1970.
Oh, that's why you guys were. There was a thing about that on the ballot, right?
Exactly. Now they lowered it, and we have all these retirements, and it's really hard to recruit.
Yeah, I think I voted to lowering it for a reason, though, because of the way it was going to get restructured.
Yeah.
Because I think you guys don't, you didn't lose any money.
But it was just,
right?
Yeah.
You just lost employees or something like that?
Yeah, but it's sad. A lot of times it comes down, we do have a real crisis with numbers right now. Staffing.
No, a lot of people do, apparently. I don't know how that is, man. Because I realized, I grew up in New York, right? And I have a family member that was a cop, and I ended up looking at the numbers because I had thought, to myself, this is a weird thing. I always think all you guys have to know each other because there's not that many of you, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's a weird environment. I used to work for a larger corporation.
Yeah.
That corporation apparently has more employees than you guys have cops.
Yeah.
And so, realistically, the good and bad about that is you guys because it's such a small department. There's not it's a small department. Like
it is. Compared to big cities, you're absolutely right.
Supposedly it's a big city. It's not the numbers on there. Like it's not really.
It's big as far as like population. Geographically, it's like only 49 square miles.
Yeah.
So it's small that way.
Yep.
But our like LAPD, Chicago, we're talking about them recently. They have 12,000 officers approximately, but we only have at our most barely 2,000. And now we're below. I'd say we're probably below 1,600, 1,700 maybe in that area.
Does Oakland have more than you guys?
No, they have less.
All right, at least that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The numbers. When I looked it up this morning because I was curious.
I know.
It kind of threw me off. Like I was like, wow, that stuff is really a small number of cops.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I'm gonna tell you something. I got my own issues with child abuse that you guys have not handled correctly. You haven't investigated it. As a matter of fact, any single time that I've been under investigation, it's been taken as a joke, and I think that's obviously a problem. But in general, even in a situation like this, you guys tend to handle things with respect for the people, which is hard to do.
Thank you.
Realistically, it can be difficult. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. I was at a protest earlier today and I lost it, and I didn't like myself for it. But It is what it is. It's hard to stay calm when people are saying or doing things that you personally are against, and then trying to keep it.
Sure.
It's a job. It's not about you.
So you're from New York, huh?
Originally, yeah.
What part?
The Bronx.
Oh, right. That is a great town, man. I went back there after 9/11 showing you. It is I'm not like a big city guy, but New York is a fun
Did you
town.
work with the NY cops?
We didn't work directly. We went back there afterwards. That was a whole other thing.
How do you feel about him? Did you meet any?
Oh yeah, I thought it was.
A lot of them are dicks. I mean, those are premier assholes, realistically.
You have 30,000 cops, so you're gonna anytime you get that many people, you're gonna have good guys, jerks. And I mean, it's human nature, right? Any profession. But we were there right after 9/11, so it was different. Everything was positive.
Like I said, my uncle, he retired. He did 20. He started back when you could start at 18, and then he retired at 38, 40. So he did it like that, and yeah, lifelong. I have a good and bad relationship with cops because I understand it, but the job is
It comes down to people, how you act in the job.
Well, the job is set up that it's kind of like this situation. The job is set up where you're gonna end up having to do things that you really shouldn't have to do, but by protocol is the best way to do it because you got to protect your other friends that didn't do it that way.
And you realize this. You're a smart, intelligent guy. This doesn't look, for a lot of people that are immune, they've never seen stuff like this. I mean, use of force, no matter how it's done, it looks, some people have never seen it, it's shocking, and they don't know what happened, and it looks bad. So people see it, and then they're like, oh my God, what's going on? They don't know what happened, and then
Is it sustained? Is the sustained?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just one of these weird things. Like, if you tackle them down to the floor,
Get them up.
everybody, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like, oh shit, you could have broke something, whatever. But then it's over.
Yes,
And then he comes down, everybody comes down. I mean, depending on what he's on. Because if he's on more of a stimulant, then that's a different kind of situation. So
that's what this thing has evolved into. Because I'm the same way. It's like, hey, you got to be custody. Get him up. Get him out of here. He's going to jail. He goes to jail. If he needs a hospital, he goes to hospital. But this thing, the guys inside. He's spitting, he's kicking, he wouldn't comply at all, and then he's sweating. That's why we requested the ambulance as quick as possible, because now it becomes a medical thing.
Yeah.
And so now,
I just can't believe how many of you guys are here for this. I mean, granted, the location, but still.
I guess the guy was running. I didn't. We were at the station. I guess the guy was running around, so someone's chasing them. And so then the officer calls for backup. That's what I mean.
Okay. He confronted one officer first. Yeah, because you guys, there's like beat basically. There's always one around here somewhere.
Exactly.
And it's usually older.
There's a lot of young guys here around.
Yeah, I always kind of wonder about it. I met a guy who works over by the dog catch, and he was telling me, he was telling me he likes coming down here to work. I guess because it's easy.
See more activity.
Enjoys it.
Yeah. The outlying areas, it's see more people, more positive interactions. A lot of people like downtown, the outlying areas.
But it's also right because it's what you was kind of alluding to of different stations, right? Like, so if you're working at different stations, like a different pay and shit like that, right?
Stations is weird. It's similar, like from New York, you have the boroughs, right? Precincts. And every precinct, or here we call them stations, they'll have a different vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Although I will say, it doesn't seem as authoritative.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Hey, they're asking Muni should reroute dispatch.
Yeah, is that on 6?
Yeah, on 6, so I guess.
I think it's all. I didn't hear on 2. Yeah, you have all these engine companies here and stuff.
Have a
How do you feel about the public filming these kind of things?
You know what? Hey, they have a right. My concern, I have no problem with it.
Where's the line then? Where's the line that gets crossed?
Because I would say what it is.
We're around.
You're right. And we have our cameras going too. I would say it only becomes an issue if someone interferes. But no one's interfering. The officers are allowed to do their work. The medics are.
So is it if somebody says something?
No, I mean, it's First Amendment, right? But it creates more problems.
Okay, then. That's what I was thinking.
As far as no one's like physically interfering with the firefighters, the medics doing their job, and of course the officers. But otherwise, yeah, it's everyone's right as a citizen, right as an onlooker, right?
So if I was ever filming something, personally, I always get back. If somebody tells me to get back, I'm gonna get back, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue. but so I guess it's different for me because I'm not going to argue. But I guess like what's the appropriate thing is just not say really anything, right? Because you don't have to really say anything to the officer.
We all know. Again, like we talk about people. There's people who want to antagonize and do stuff. That's fine, but it's like, like to answer your question cross line, it would be you have to interfere, and then it's it's an arrestable offense.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah,
Because that becomes two different things real quick.
You're absolutely
really
right,
quick.
yeah. And so then you lose resources because you're dealing with one thing, and then now you have something else going on. It's just it is what it's unfortunate, but most people they're curious, they want to know what's going on, they're concerned, and that's fine. Like you and I are having a nice discussion, we're talking, and everything's done. You're recording, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean.